Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Choose You. Choose You is a weekly IGTV show that airs and powered by the Mrs. Globe channel. I am Tasha Haskins, a Mrs. Curvey Globe 2020, and also the author of Choose You, Change Your Path, and Walk in Your Purpose. I do see our guest star of the day is already ready to go, so I'm going to bring you on here shortly, Imani. Again, you guys are tuning in to Choose You, again, the weekly IGTV live show that is designed to inspire you to your life's crescendo, showing you how to choose you each and every day in every step of the way. A couple of really great announcements I'm going to share is that Mrs. Globe is happening in Palm Springs in like less than 5 weeks. Women from all across the globe, as well as all across the United States, are going to be rendezvousing in the beautiful Palm Springs to vie for actually I think it's 7 different titles. So we have all of the US of A title holders that will be competing for opportunity to represent the globe. And then we have our Mrs. Classic competition, Mrs. Curvey, which is me, competition, and Mrs. Curvey Classic competitions. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be inspiring. It's going to be a lot of beauty going on in the same place, as well as celebrating the 25th anniversary of Mrs. Globe. So I'm just incredibly excited about that. Like I said last week, if you think you can get your stuff together in the next 5 weeks and get on that stage, definitely still apply or get your tickets at mrsglobe.com. It's going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing experience. Okay, then shout out, of course, to my amazing beautyologist, Vanessa, owner of Queen's Allure. She makes sure that, of course, my makeup, contour is on point every single week. Also, shout out to Lekenia Fashion House, a Kenyan-owned fashion house here in Seattle, Washington, for my beautiful neck piece I'm wearing today, as well as my favorite color, royal blue jumpsuit. Yes, it's super cute. So thank you, Lucy, owner of Lekenia Fashion House. All right, so I'm not going to talk and be before you too long. I'm going to bring on my beautiful guest. I know most of you guys are working around this time, so I'm looking forward to you guys watching a little bit later. But I'm going to bring on Imani Blackmon. This young lady I have known for, gosh, I want to say at least 12 years, when she was young and in the pageant industry when she was competing for National American Miss. This young lady rarely does not see a win. She has made like history in so many different levels. History as the first Black Miss Washington Teen USA, the first Black Miss Washington USA, history, one of the other history makers of double winning in the USA system. And now she's launched her own clothing line, of which I'm going to convince her to start a plus size part of it a little bit later. So this woman is just one of those people you just cannot get down, and she's very inspiring. So now I'm going to go ahead and bring her on here. All right. Be coming on here shortly. Again, I'm super excited to have Imani on today. Let's see if technology will meet. Oh, there she is. Hello, beautiful.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I was so looking forward to your energy because I already knew that you were going to be like bouncing off the walls and
You know, it's so funny. I just went to Miami yesterday and my body is so tired, but my spirit's always high, so we're good.
you have the same energy you had 10 years ago.
Yes, I know. That's why I miss congeniality at Miss USA. So,
That's amazing. I remember when I first saw you competing, and at the time I was judging National American Miss, and I was so thrilled to see a brown face one out of those 400, however many hundreds of girls. And then, just to see someone that had the support of her family, and you were just so confident and so adorable. And then to watch you kind of grow and crescendo to where you are, that spirit has never changed in you. And I love that. So we're going to go ahead and dig deep into Miss Imani Blackmon, who she is, besides this gorgeous, ambitious, amazing young lady. Now, oftentimes people, right, they see our glory, but they don't always know the story. And everything isn't just roses, kittens, skittles, and an easy way up. And I know you have a very supportive, parents and family. But why don't you tell us a little bit about your story and how you went from just kind of that young girl that loved to dance and competing in pageants down to your own, owning your own clothing line, just being an international influence on women in the world?
yeah, so I started pageants at 5 years old. So I've been doing them basically my whole entire life. And I started with a system called National American Miss. And my first year when I was 5, my family and I had no idea what we were doing. That first year didn't go so well, but it's a learning process. after competing that first time, I was like, okay, I know what a winner is now. I've seen a girl get crowns, and I'm like, I want that now. So that next year I worked even harder, and I believe I made top 15 that next year. Then my third year, I became Miss Washington Princess, and then from that day moving forward, I was like, oh, I could do this. So it's honestly, you probably attest to this. Pageantry, for some reason, it's like an addiction. Like you just want to keep doing it, or you want to stay involved as much as you can. And so from that moment, winning Miss Washington Princess until my recent title, I just have loved everything about pageantry. And like you had mentioned before, I was the first African-American Miss Washington Teen USA and got the chance to compete at Miss Teen USA back when I was in the Bahamas. And then I recently just got off the Miss USA stage in November in Memphis, and that was so much fun. I got to go with my best friend, Miss Hawaii USA, and I also took home the Miss Congeniality Award because, like you said, I'm super high energy, and I'm so glad that my heart and my personality was able to reflect among the girls that voted for me to be Miss Congeniality. And moving forward to today, I am a pageant coach, so I'm so thrilled to be able to use the knowledge that I've gained through pageantry and give that to other young women that want to be successful in this industry. And from my pageant experience, and just as you know, it's so fashion forward, and you probably get a ton of questions about what you're wearing and what you have on. And my whole life has consisted of that. So it was honestly January 1st, I woke up and I was like, okay, I want to start my own business, and what should that be? I want to be an entrepreneur. It's the time. I finished Miss USA, and let's, go to the next chapter. And I was like, I want to have my own clothing brand. And that same day, I got my business license, my seller's license, and I got everything I needed in that same day. And I basically just started forming my own business January 2nd. And I did that just because people always ask what we have on and what we're wearing. And I'm like, why don't I just make my own clothing brand and line? That way girls can just go to Miss Girl Co. and find out what I'm wearing. I am wearing my own top and my own
Yes.
so little plug for
myself. I'm so proud of you. I don't know what to say. So I want to kind of, obviously, my Choose You show is more of, kind of I wouldn't say like kind of mental health, but what I love about your story is that you do have two very, very supportive parents that listen to you, that wanted to push you in your dreams. And I want you to actually speak to being a young lady who actually had a very quality upbringing, and how important it is for a parent to listen to their child, to listen to their teenager, to allow them to spread their wings and be who they want to be, which honestly, oftentimes parents put kids in a box with, I want you to do this and I want you to do that because I went to college and I did this and I did that. And so you're going to do it too, because your mother, I could not pay her enough money to get her on a pageant stage. Like I have begged her for 10 years and she won't do it. So obviously she's like, whatever you wanted to do, they supported you doing. So can you speak to that as far as just your mental health and your well-being? Because you have so much confidence being an industry where we're minorities. Like it's not a thing. Black parents are more willing to put their kid in an AAU, basketball tournament because they think they're going to be the next kid to go to the NBA than they are to invest in their daughter who could learn how to speak, earn scholarship money, learn how to build a business through the pageant industry. So can you share with us, Imani, just the impact of having supportive, listening parents and how that's impacted you as a young woman to be an entrepreneur like you are?
Yes, absolutely. My parents have been the biggest support system. Like my parents hype me up with everything I do. When they're my mom, as you know, like I take a breath. I wake up in the morning, they're like, yes, girl. So
it's true. My daughter's eyes opened. We're posting about it,
Yes, like that's how they are. And children and kids and everyone, that kind of support. When I call my phone saying that I want to do my own clothing brand, they're like, okay, so when do we have to get the billboard? And I was like, whoa, I'm like, let me just kind of start. Let me see what the vibe is. But there just always have been supportive. And I think that it's a lesson that a lot of parents need to take on. And as an example, it's like if you don't want your child drawing on the walls, instead of just yelling at them because they drew something on the wall, go buy a piece of paper and stick it on the wall and say, hey, you can draw right here. Just like it's little things like that during parenting shows your kid that you're supporting them and not scolding them for being creative. So my parents have have always encouraged me to be creative, to do whatever I wanted to do, and knowing that life is short and that you should go follow your dream. They've always encouraged that. So if you're a parent out there, I always encourage people to just let your kid be creative, listen to them, and let them do what they want to do. Because my mom's biggest thing is that she wanted me to be able to take my hobby and make a career out of it. And I have been able to do that. Dance my whole entire life. And now I'm a dancer at Disneyland Resort, and I dance in the shows and the parades, which is such an amazing experience. It's so much fun. And then I've also competed in pageants for 20 years, and now I'm a pageant coach. So, and all of that combined, I was able to take both passions and make a new passion in having a clothing brand. So if you listen to your kids, they're able to be creative and make a career out of themselves from things that you've allowed them to do when they were children growing up.
That's so good. I mean, first of all, I'm mad that you're old enough to have done anything for 20 years, but we'll talk about that later, offline. So, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, she's only like 12. How could she have done anything for 20 years? No, it's fine. I'll get over it. But anywho, no, that is so powerful. And I've tried, you know, to be similar because I definitely, I think as time has evolved, right? You know, parents always have a kind of a pathway idea that they have for their children, not understanding that maybe limiting them to that box is actually limiting their destiny and their purpose. And I just love that your parents, you know, have been kind of like, if you were like, Dad, I want to start a salon on the moon, I could totally hear your dad saying like, well, let's call NASA, let's do it. Like, you know, they're like those type of, and I love that. So hopefully all the parents watching can see, you know, allowing your kids to do their creativeness. I mean, look at, she is a 25-year-old.
Just turned 26.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
I know.
A 26-year-old entrepreneur, business owner, did not let the pandemic get her down, young woman. And this is by her parents saying, hey, like, you don't have to follow our road. What is it you want to do? So that's beautiful. Now, I would like to, you know, of course, Miss Universe just happened, and I know that you probably have some weighing in on that, but I just wanted to ask you just what kind of fortitude emotionally does it take to prepare to be on like a USA stage, a universe stage? While my show is not necessarily a pageant show, but there are some major characteristics that are required to take on really anything of that magnitude in life. Can you share a little bit with us what you do for like mental prep and the mindset you need to be in to do that?
Yes, absolutely. You definitely have to be sure of yourself. This is an industry that you walk in, especially at a level like Miss USA and Miss Universe. Everyone in their state or their country is a winner. So at that point, you have to take away, obviously, everyone's beautiful. Everyone can communicate. Everyone can walk. Everyone has rocking bodies. And at that point, so you have to be sure of yourself to be able to even get to that point. Otherwise, you would just lose yourself in the crowd because everyone is so incredible. So I think the best mental space that I have to put myself in is that, you know, I'm not necessarily saying that I have to win over everyone else, but I also know that I'm capable of winning just like everyone else. So something that I'm not better than anyone, but no one's better than me. So that's.
Oh, yes, girl. I like that.
Yes, you have it because it's true that you have to be in when you go to a competition that big. And like I mentioned, like before being Miss Congeniality, it's like I still am in competitive mode, but also in the mental space that I'm confident enough in myself that I'm still able to be super friendly and energetic with all these other incredible women. So it's about having that balance and just being really sure of yourself so that way you can have the best experience possible.
I really like what you said. I mean, how that gets so transferable to everyday life, right? Where, you know, it's like, I'm not better than anyone, but no one's better than me, right? And that's really a very cool, unique millennial way of saying, like, you're your own competition, if you will, right? There's not a left or looking to the left or looking to the right. And I think in the world, oftentimes we hinder ourselves, Imani, whether it's in business or whatever, because we're over here like, oh, well, this person has that or this and that. And you have to believe if you were given the gift to start this, right? There's a million clothing lines out there. And you're like, that's great. Good for you. Okay, great. Like, you know, and I'm not better. My line's not better than yours, but no line is better than mine. And I think applying that principle to everything is so, so powerful. I really love that, Imani. And I think that's a really good segue into, I know you kind of talked about it a little bit, but, and kind of why you wanted to start a clothing line. But what is kind of your demographic that you're wanting to reach? You already know that I'm really needing you to start a plus size line, and we'll talk about that later. Okay, sorry, just a moment of silence. Okay, so that's the big sister look. And then, but what kind of really said, hey, like what inspires your designs and looks? I'm sure it's your own taste because I've never seen you wear nothing not cute. So tell us about that. And as you as a 20, I think 25 at the time, because you turned 26 in February, hey, Aquarius, a 25-year-old just says, hey, I'm gonna launch a line. It's gonna be a big deal. Like
Yeah.
talking about that.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna launch this line. Let me think of a name. And I came up with Miss Girl just because I love the Miss, like MISS, because it's a little tribute to pageantry. And it's just, I wanted a line that sounded cohesive with what like people my age wear. So if you have like Fashion Nova, Pretty Little Thing, all these like really cute online websites, and I'm like, okay, so I pictured a girl saying, oh, where are your pants from? My pants are from Fashion Nova. This is from Pretty Little Thing, and this is from Miss Girl Co. Like it just sounded well. So I'm like, okay, that was my first step. And so
Okay.
I liked that name. But also what just inspired me was I really never had like a quote unquote 9 to 5. And just being able to, at 15, I know my mom had mentioned in here, I danced for the WNBA Seattle Storm, and I did that for 5 seasons. So for
Wow.
at 15 years old, I was already getting a paycheck for dancing. And then my next job was, and then I was a Miss Washington Teen USA. I worked at Aeropostale for like 2 weeks, and then I was like, I'm done. Because
She's like, the clock in, clock out is not for me.
right. And then granted, I did Disney, which is technically clock out, but it's not even like a job. I literally dance and play dress up the whole day. So, and then Miss Washington USA, and I'm like, okay, what is the next step? I'm currently not at work because Disneyland was closed for over a year because of the pandemic, of course. I'm like, what can I do now? How can I, still not have to do that 9 to 5 clock in, clock out? And I'm like, okay, let's be an entrepreneur. Let's just go for it. And like, I love that you mentioned like there's a million clothing lines, but I just think, what I think what everyone should think about is why not you? If you said you're hosting this show right now, and if you said I want to be the next Oprah Winfrey, there's people that would be like, come on. But it's like, yes, you can be.
Why not?
Why can't you be the next Oprah? Why can't you be the next Ryan Seacrest? Like that someone
Woo! Yes, girl, I receive it. Yes. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. This isn't about me. It's about you. But
do it. You're like,
yes.
why can't it be you? And I think a lot of people don't look at themselves that they could be so great. We just look at other people like, oh, that's like that life is just meant for them. But I look at it like that life is meant for me too. Like I feel like I was born to be a star. So I could say if I want to be the next Beyonce, I'm going to be the next Beyonce. I feel like I have my friends convinced that I am Beyonce.
I would have to agree with that.
Like, so I think it's just all about the mental state of just really believing in yourself. And my friend Brenda's on here, and she said, "Why not you?" And exactly, it's just why not you? You can do it, just like the next person can do it as well. So basically, my whole point was I really wanted to just be my own boss, entrepreneur, and just step into my entrepreneur bag.
Yes, yes, and all the way, yes. I am, first of all, again, just incredibly proud and impressed with that mindset. You have people in their 40s and 50s that don't think like that. They feel like it's already been done or it's already this, but it hasn't been done by Imani Blackmon.
Right.
So it hasn't been done by Tasha Haskins, okay? And most of the people who are incredibly successful and leave a huge mark are people that did it when people said no or why. And so again, I think that is so important. And one thing, when people list all the reasons why I can't do something, I'm like, you realize that you've actually just laid out what my competitive edge is. Thanks.
Mm,
If you think about it, like, oh, you can't, well, you don't have this and you don't have that, and you're like this and you're like that. And you're like, that's exactly why I can do it.
yeah.
Yes. Because you just listed all the things that the people you think are doing it have that I don't have, which is exactly why that's my competitive edge to be successful. And again, I keep going back to your parents only because the foundation in a person's life is so huge and how they see the rest of their life.
Yes.
Like you're literally, if what you're instilling in people that you love is you can, then the world or anyone saying you can't, you're just like, what are you talking about? My dad said I was a princess. I'm a princess. Like, whatever, And so I love that. Now, I would like to know, because my show is called Choose You, and I think everyone kind of gets to like crossroads in their life where they're doing things for other people, whether it's their family or their friends or kind of what they expect of you. But at what point in time did Imani, and I think I kind of know when this might be, probably when you traumatize your family by moving to another state, but and everybody else. But what point did Imani say, I'm going to choose Imani? This path might not look like what other people think, or it may not be this. This might not be the normal path of success or the normal path of life, but I'm choosing Imani, whatever that looks like, and I'm going to go full steam ahead. When was that moment for you? And talk about how you actually implemented it.
Yeah, so I went my freshman year of school. I went to Washington State University in Pullman, which is like in the yeah. So
Go Cougs! So I was born in Pullman. I'm a true Cougar. Okay.
yes, and it was so much fun. I met incredible people there, and I had a great time. But it was just in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't want to be. I cannot be here. And so I remember talking to my parents, and they knew I wasn't going to go back. And I was like, I cannot go back. So in that moment, I feel like I really chose myself, because I was like, you don't know what your next step is really going to be. And all your friends are going to stay here at school and just, do the path that, we're kind of told to do. And I'm going to just step outside of that and just go after what I want to do. And so, of course, that can be really scary. And I moved to California at 19 in my own studio apartment. I didn't really know people. I think I knew 2 girls, and then I was starting a new job. So what happened was I wanted to be a Lakers dancer, and I was here in California. I auditioned for that, and I didn't get it. And so while we were still in California, I was like, okay, well, what should I do now? Like, I don't want to go back to Wazoo. I want to live in California. How can I still make this happen for myself? We leave California like a couple days. So I went online and I looked up auditions, and I saw the Disney audition. And we packed up our hotel, drove to Anaheim like at 6 a.m. And we get there, the line is wrapped around the building, like 500 girls. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, this is impossible. Like, why am I even here right now? And anyway, I get into the audition. I text my mom, like, Mom, I made the next cut. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I made the next cut. And I make the next cut. Sooner or later, there was like only 30 of us left. And then I got hired from Disney. So it was just a really cool experience to show that, one door closes, another one opens. And I feel like in those moments, I really just chose myself, because I auditioned in the summer. I moved to California, I believe in September, and just set up my studio, and then have been here really ever since. So that's when I really chose myself, just going towards a goal that sounded scary, and like I didn't know exactly how it was going to pan out. And it's not a typical journey. Like, for instance, I'm still in school, so everyone's journey is different. People think that you go to high school, you go to for university, and you graduate, and that's great. But everyone's path is different. I have a lot of friends that are still in school. They're in their 30s. I have a friend that's 31, and she's just about to graduate college. And I know at times we've had conversations and she felt a little down about that. But actually, it's just like, everyone has their own path. So, and that's my path. And I'm perfectly okay with that, and I'm happy with that. But I do think my move to California at 19 by myself wasn't really a moment when I chose myself. And my mom said I moved August 21st, 2014. So, of course, she has it locked down.
I, I love your mom. That is absolutely hilarious, because so in case you were wondering, the exact date, time in all 3 zip codes was
Thanks, Mom.
I love that, though. I love that's such a big deal. I mean, again, like I said, you have adults that are afraid to do that. And I also want to say, like, when I met you, I saw you, rather observed you the first time, you're competing against like 400 girls, right? As a preteen, a kid. And so that even kind of being able to do that as like a 9, 10-year-old girl, and then to be in your 19 and do that and see 500 people wrapped around the building, it's like, you know what? Been there, done that. Like, seen 500 girls, and they chose me. So
Right.
why not? Let's just go to another state. Why not? That could be its own country because it has so many people in it. Why not? And so I love that. And that's why you have the opportunities that you have now, because you chose to do that. And I'm curious to know, were there any, I know, again, the parents' nucleus, and they probably are like, your dad probably is like, force field like around, but did you have any people, I don't have to name them, but I mean like naysayers or people that were like, really, Imani, like, what are you doing? And how did you overcome that?
Yeah, well, I'm being honest, I have like the best friends, and I honestly think I have the best supporting system and best friends in the world. Like, my friends hype me up with every single thing I do, just like my family does. And you've probably seen, like, even just when I repost my friends' posts of me, I have the biggest support system. So I haven't had too many naysayers, but I've had to have people say things like little things where it's like, oh, you still work at Disney? Like, you still work at the office? Like, what? What you mean? It's my job. I'm a performer. I'm a professional dancer. Little things like that are like.
You're still getting them coffee?
Exactly. Like, what do you mean? Little things like that just show the haters out there. Or, you know, I've had comments about pageantry. People thinking that that's not a big deal, or, oh, what else do you do? It's like, even if I only did Miss Washington USA, what do you mean? What else do I do? I'm Miss Washington. I'm like, hey, what? So I definitely have had comments like that. But that's
I love this. It's like, what do you mean? I'm Miss Washington.
But you know how I look at it as people expect so much greatness from people like us that they're always next. As soon as
the next thing
that you get off the Miss USA stage, and I know all of my class experience this. Every second. So what's next? What's next? What are you doing now? And it's like, girl, I've been preparing for this one moment for my whole entire life, and it didn't pan out the way I wanted to. So now I gotta reevaluate. Okay, just give me 1 second, and then to know what's next. And often that can be a lot of pressure, but I try to look at it glass half full. Like, people just expect greatness from me, or you, and all of us in this industry. Yeah. That they're looking for the next big thing. So it feels like a lot of pressure, but also I kind of take it as a compliment, because I'm like, you think I'm so great that I could just do everything.
It's interesting you would say that, because I felt the same. I remember when I kind of took a hiatus for about 3 years to do my personal healing journey. And again, I'm so grateful you have the background that you have and the parents you have, so you didn't have all these traumas to work through and figure out. That's a blessing. And I mean, people literally were like, so are you done healing yet? Because I need you to come judge my event. No, I'm not. And when I am, I'm definitely not going to call you like, hello, or people that are just waiting. I mean, I won Mrs. Curvey Globe, which is an international world title. Okay. And people are like, so so you're going to go for Miss America? And I'm like, I'm like, first of all, I'm 40. Like, second of all, I'm a world title holder. There's nowhere higher for me to go. Okay, I'm 40. Like, what are you talking about? I mean, it's just, I totally get it, because you're just literally like,
yeah.
Like, I'm like, I'm sorry. I just had an parents virtually in Bolivia talking to people like, I don't understand what you're talking about right now. Like, why? So I totally get that, because people just, don't. But you have an opportunity to educate people and show them. So what I like to end my show with, a question is this, Imani. There are people that are watching now and individuals that will be watching later. A lot of our viewers watch later on, because this is kind of during work hours. For those of us that, aren't out there living our dreams like you are. And so I'm just kidding. I always say there's someone there that's at the crossroads in their life, right? Where they can either continue the path of pain and just the path of kind of what's familiar, or choosing the path of themselves, like making that decision. And it may be lonely. It might be scary. It might be, what are you doing? And what would you say to a person that's at that crossroads that can encourage them to choose them?
Yes. My biggest piece of advice, and like I mentioned earlier, is you have to have a mentality of why not you. I think many times we get in those crossroads, it's because we get so in our head about what our next journey is, what our next path is. And we get in our head because we feel like we can't do it. It's scary out there. It's so many people doing the line of work that you want to do. A good example is Rihanna. Rihanna's a musician. She could have I hate using the word just. I was going to say she could just have done music, but never use the word just in your bio or when you're talking about yourself. Oh, I just do this. No, you don't just do anything. You do that. But sorry, that was segue. So,
that was your mom coming out right there. I just felt like she was talking right then. Yes, ma'am.
Rihanna, she's a musician, and she could have kept going with music, but she said, you know what? I'm going to make a makeup line. And we already have a ton of makeup lines. We have Sephora's, Ulta's, and a bunch of brands inside of those stores too. And she could have easily been like, you know what? I don't need to do this. I'm gonna stick to music. And she didn't. She made a huge makeup company and now has a skincare line within Fenty and is a billionaire from all of that. So that's a great example of how you can just, even though some industries feel saturated, you have to think, why not you? Something that I realized is a lot of us, when we were kids, you could ask, what do we want to be when we grew up? And extravagant dreams. I want to be a superstar, a ballerina, a model, a doctor, a dentist, a firefighter. You're all these great things. And then as we get older, our lives, you know, has a different path, just because life is hard. You have to put food on the table, you have to pay bills, life gets in the way. But a lot of that reason why you don't fulfill that like elementary dream is because of self-doubt, and it's so my biggest thing is, why not you? If you asked 5-year-old Imani what she wanted to do when she got older, I'm doing it right now, which is really cool. So I love that for myself. I love that for myself. That I want, and I know everyone's upbringing is different, and it cannot have been as easy for other people as it was for me, just because of my upbringing and my parents and their support. But it was also, a lot of it was just my own mentality of thinking, why not me? You have to think like that. Why not you? You're capable just like the next person. I know it's especially difficult in social media age, because everyone's showing their highlight reel on Instagram and on social media. It's hard to feel like you can keep up. I know people would say keeping up with the Joneses, but I say keeping up with the Kardashians now, because I feel like that's what everyone's trying to do, is keep up with this certain lifestyle. So it feels impossible to get there. But, you know, all those people that you're looking up to also started somewhere, just like we did. And it's just a matter of time until it's your moment. So why not you is my biggest piece of advice for all of you watching and listening.
That's very wise. You were definitely very wise beyond your years, and I really appreciate you sharing that. Kind of gave me a little bit of a personal B12 shot, because my path has definitely not been the traditional path to anything. I when I was growing up, I think I wanted to be an elementary school teacher, and then I had kids, and I was like, absolutely not. I do not want to be in any way, shape, or form responsible for anyone else's kids. Right. So that changed immediately. But anyway, that's amazing. I just want to say thank you so much for being on today's show. You are just a major inspiration. I love being able to talk to the millennials and seeing just the maturity in what you exude and who you are. I'm personally very proud of you. I love your clothing line, and I'm like serious when I say Imani. And I don't have to be your model or anything, but I definitely need you to create everything that you've made in size 1X to 3X, and I will be incredibly thrilled about that. It will open up, you're leaving money on the table, girlfriend, if you don't. So
yeah, my whole entire platform at Washington, USA was representation and inclusivity. So that's definitely something that's really important to me, and I cannot wait until I'm able to venture off into more inclusive sizes, because that's something I look at when I'm shopping. It's like, are the models diverse? Are the sizes inclusive? So I definitely want to be also a part of that wave of being inclusive for everyone. So I will definitely be getting on that.
I want to be a Miss Girl. I want to be a Miss Curvy Girl Co. Okay. No, but again, thank you so much for being on the show today. Everyone, you were watching Choose You with Tasha Haskins. It airs every Tuesday at 9 o'clock. You were able to listen to the former Miss Washington Teen USA, Miss Washington USA, owner of Miss Girl Co. And now she's going to share with us how you can follow her, how you can buy clothes from her clothing brand, and how you can keep up with what Miss Imani is doing.
Yes, you can follow me at Imani_Blackmon on Instagram. Trying to get into TikTok. We'll see how that goes. It's hard. So you can find me on Instagram for the most part. I'm on Facebook as well. And you can shop my clothing brand at www.missgirlco.com. You can find it on Instagram at missgirlco.
I love it. I'm so proud of you. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and close out with what I always say every week, that it is never too late to choose you, change your path, and walk in your purpose. Thank you for tuning in today. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye, Imani.
Bye. Thank you.